Closing Beat, everybody. Happy Thursday. Yes, it's Thursday. Welcome to our show. We do every day here. It's called The Closing Beat. It's a quick stock market update where we go over the stock market, of course, and then stick around and answer your questions if you happen to have any questions. I've got a lot of cool things to share with you in terms of studies or data that I want to go over. So hopefully you've got a few minutes and you can stick with me here. Also, our jazz artist of the week is Miles Davis. Miles Davis. Very, very cool. We're doing a song today, Kinda Blue, from the original record we've been covering this whole time here, but hope you'll check it out there if you like some of that. We're also playing a game. It's called Guess the Dow. You can play along if you'd like. Go to the website, jazzwealth.com/guess the Dow. And thank you for all the comments and compliments for what we've been working on here, getting some of this stuff updated and kind of fixed up for you there. So we'll go over to the markets, take a look here, see what we've got, and see if we can fix some stuff for you so you know what's going on in the overall stock market. So let's take a look here. The Dow was the strongest of the day. It actually finished flat, a couple points up on the day. It's up 7.9% year to date, largely thanks to Boeing. We'll go over to that there in just a minute to take a look. And the NASDAQ was the weakest of the day. The NASDAQ's up 7.2% year to date. FANG was the weak one today. Let's go over to the charts and take a look, see if everything goes smoothly with that. If you look at the FANG stocks, you got Facebook. Let's see, Facebook is loading, and there you go. Facebook up on the screen there, 1.68% to the downside. Just weakness, it's continued weakness. It got a little overbought there in the short term. It's just kind of working itself off, starting to pull itself back there just a little bit. And then every other FANG name, whether you want to go through it, we don't have to go through all of them actually, but every other FANG name actually weaker on the day. And that things like Apple, you got weaker there. Amazon, you got weaker on the day. Netflix, we don't have to go through all of them. But Netflix down on the day, back to the 50-day moving average. And yeah, so that's what you have there. That held back the NASDAQ there. Overnight, we got a boost from the East. So we got a little bit of a boost there. And, you know, there was less riots. I don't know if I'm going to do it yet. I don't know if it's too soon or whatever, but later in the show, we're probably going to cover it there. Then the problem is we added 2.1 million more to the jobless claims, but the continuous jobless claims was the main focus. Remember, I talked to you about that. The continuing jobless claims were going to be the issue going forward. And yeah. That's the issue. Continuing jobless claims tick higher. We don't want them to tick higher. The continuous jobless claims are those that are continuing to stay on continuous jobless claims. We don't want that. So that ticked a little bit higher. That becomes the focus and has been the focus going forward. And so that's what we have there. If you're curious, California is one of the largest contributors to the continuing jobless claims ticking higher, added 600,000 more people to stayed on unemployment. On a percentage basis, the highest was Oregon, believe it or not. 46% increase in the number of initial or continuing jobless claims, and Maine up 16%, Florida up 14%. So we can't give other states any grief there, you know. So that's what we got. Hey, speaking of FANG names, so we just went through. We looked at all these different charts here. We were talking about the FANG holding back Netflix today, and a lot of people say, well, FANG leads the markets higher. Well, we know FANG stocks have the market cap and the weightings in the market to move it higher, but it doesn't mean that those are the best stocks to perform. So last night I was sitting around thinking, well, what if you wanted to do something else other than FANG stocks? Are there better performing stocks than just that handful of names? And actually, yeah. So there are a lot of choices that you have out there. What I did is put together a little bit of a sheet for you. We're going to go through to this one here, all the other tech stocks that have market caps of at least $1 billion. And then we looked to find the stocks that had year-to-date returns that were better than all of the FANG stocks. Amazon is currently the best performing FANG stock out of the group. If you were to look at each one of them individually, about 35% after today. And so what I did is put together a list for you here, rank them by year-to-date percentage return. Every stock in here has to have a market cap of at least $1 billion. The average is about $21 billion if you're looking through the list there. And these are all stocks that are in the tech space but have outperformed. Maybe it gives you some ideas for if the markets pull back, what stocks have been strong that you could maybe take a look at. Also, all of these stocks also have outperformed FANG, whether you buy each one of them individually or you bought them as part of a portfolio. So I just wanted to share that with you. You've got DocuSign in there. The largest of the group is NVIDIA, $217 billion out of the mix there. So that's that one. Square up in the mix, of course. ServiceNow. Zscaler. You can see a bunch of names in there. DocuSign, just all their performance year to date. And I'm basically just kind of hanging it out there for you for a minute in case you want to take a look. These are not recommendations, just an idea. Maybe it's something you want to check out as you go there. But anyways, yeah, just thought that was cool. Something different to share. We're going to be doing a membership site soon that has like research and a lot of forward-looking data. And so I'm just trying to share some of those things, maybe tease it a little bit. Hey, our FinTips video from yesterday was about choosing dividend stocks. If you're interested in looking at dividend stocks and how to find them, how to measure whether it's dividend growth or dividend income, I hope you'll check that out on our FinTips video on YouTube, which came out yesterday. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about tax brackets for our FinTips videos. Very basic and questions that I get all the time on that. We're going to look at that. And then also wine and wealth tonight for our customers. We are going to share the normal stuff we always do in terms of market performance and the portfolios. But hang on, because we're going to go through a whole lot of geeky stuff. We may hit on the election. We're going to hit on market performance, the record rally here. We're going to cover that tonight. That'll be at 8 o'clock later. So hope you'll join us for that if you're one of our customers. If not, then come on over. Let's take a look at the sector breakdown here. We'll go over to the financials. Financials continue to be the best performing sector over the last couple of days, another 2% to the upside. And basically, if you look at financials, you're going to have inside of it, you're going to have the top 5 names. That was the big focus. Your Berkshire Hathaway, your JP Morgan, names like that were the ones that led. The top 5 stocks inside the XLF are the stocks that basically led the way. I do want to point out Truist. Truist had a good day today. A little regional, not a regional, but a little smaller bank than some of the bigger ones. Up 5% on the day. That one's looking really strong. It's just not a big weighting in the XLF, but I did notice that one stuck out as one of the better performers. Maybe something to look at. Anyways, that's the financials. Industrials once again led the way with the financials. So it's been industrials and financials over the last couple of days. A lot of that's going to be thanks to Boeing. Boeing had another 6.5% day. And yeah, pretty cool there. So 6.5% there. The rest of the gains came from airlines. And oh, by the way, if for whatever reason the audio sounds a little bit off, we didn't get a chance to set the main audio to all the different shots. We'll do that. So today it may be a little bit odd. We know that's a mess, but at least it's clear. Hopefully everything is good there. We're dramatically improving the audio. So we got that. It's coming up. Anyways, Boeing leading the way, but airlines. Now the biggest airline of the mix was American Airlines today. See this? Up 40% on the day. American Airlines says they're going to increase their schedule over the summer. They're seeing increased demand. At one point, it was up over 50% on the day. Obviously, way above average volume. So American Airlines got all the attention, but they all kind of moved in sympathy with American. You got Delta higher on the day. Southwest Airlines, 5%. That one wasn't quite as much. United Airlines, 16%. So that was the bulk of the reason that you had industrials moving back to the 50-day moving average there. On the downside, you got, well, you can use any really ETF you want for REITs. They're basically all the same. We'll use the XLRE today. That was one of the weaker ones, and the utilities were weaker as well because you've got rates moving higher, right? Short-term, long-term rates both moving higher over the last couple of days. Long-term slide going on there. And so because of that, your utilities, your interest rate sensitive areas like REITs, they've also been a little bit weak. If I go over to the REITs for a second, because I know a lot of you like to look at this. There you go. In the REIT space today, it was the strength that moved you lower. So the stocks that had been strong, like Prologis, your data center REITs, Equinix, EQIX is the ticker symbol. If you want to look at that one, these have been strong in the REIT space. Data center REITs, they were the ones that pulled back. American Tower also pulling back. That's been one that's really strong. And what was it? Crown Castle was the other one also. So these were the ones that led the REITs lower. If you happen to own a REIT fund or a REIT mutual fund, it was basically just a handful of stocks that took you lower. In the utility space, you got the largest holding there, which is Nextera. Nextera had the biggest downside. It was the biggest contributor to the downside in the utilities there. AEP was right behind it. If you take both of those names, they just equal out to 20% of the XLU. So you notice how I say that. I try to point that out a lot to you guys so you can see that there are, in a lot of these sectors, there really are just a couple stocks that kind of move the needle. Healthcare, by the way, XLV moved a little bit lower on the day, continues to pull back from the strength. And it's not necessarily that it's pulling back, it's just taking a break. The first quarter after the virus decline there, into the second quarter is where we saw a big boost in healthcare. Remember, it was leading the markets higher for a while, and now it's just taking a little bit of a break. Dexcom is interesting. It pulled back today, back to the 50-day moving average. This was one of, if not the strongest stock in the healthcare sector on its last rally. So down 5%, almost 6% on the day, like the technical location that it's heading into there. But that was the biggest loser, and the biggest drags were Johnson & Johnson and UNH. They're the ones that held the sector back overall. Healthcare, by the way, is the worst over the last month, worst performing sector over the last month. But you go, I don't see a drop. It doesn't look like it fell that much. Still up 3%, but that's what the worst sector looks like, is still up 3%. We'll take a look at crude oil real quick. Small gain on the day. It was a rather quiet day for crude oil. And I got a little bit of I got a slide for you. Let's take a look at this here. So we look at the slide. You've got, here's the production of U.S. Oil versus OPEC. And I went back over the last 3 years. So if you look over the last year, the production in the U.S. is actually up 5%, where we got still a steady decline in OPEC there. Over the last 3 years, you've got basically the U.S. production is at highs. Right, we're basically at record highs in terms of the amount of the percentage of production here in the U.S. So we're pushing at highs here. OPEC's over there fighting with Russia and everybody, and Iran in particular this time, to try and cut production. And as they cut production, the U.S. just says, let's keep drilling. We're going to steal all your thunder. And so I wanted to share that with you if you're taking a look at where's a lot of the production coming from. It's sort of an interesting study that's been happening over the last couple of years. Saudi Arabia is not very happy about it, but so goes the market bit. Anyways, and then we'll take a look at gold real quick. I'm just going to pop this up and then I'll go back to the slide there. Gold, we talked about it yesterday, moving to the low end of the range, got a little bit of a bounce today. So gold added 22.60 on the day, up to 1727.40, and money flowing nicely into gold. So we go over to the charts. We'll use that one there to show it. There you go. Here's the amount of money flowing into gold. So gold has mostly moved sideways over the last couple of weeks. We've talked about it every day, just moving sideways, and you can see it with the purple line here on the chart. Right, so almost nothing has happened. And actually, since I have the ability, I'm going to zoom in. I know some of you need this a little bit bigger if you're hanging out, chilling out on your phone or something. Here you go. Okay, so you've got the purple line is gold, moving sideways. You can see just over the last month, almost nothing happening. The orange line behind it is the number of new dollars going into the GLD ETF. So while the stock is, while the ETF is moving sideways, more money is coming in. Why would that happen? Why would people put money to work in something that is essentially sleeping at the moment? That's a very bullish case for gold, at least in the short term. That could change on a dime, by the way, but that's just something that stands out. You've got something moving sideways, and money continues to flow into it to the tune of about $7 billion extra dollars over the last month. And that is our sector update for you there. All right, let's go to the technical breakdown here. So technical breakdown, you got eBay, well, basically you got 14 new highs on the day. I'll take you over to eBay. That one stands out, 6.26% gain. That was the big winner. It's now up 37% year to date. However, 26% of it came in the last month, so something to be careful of there. It's also very extended with this gap higher on the day today. eBay basically said they're seeing increased sales, higher comparables overall. Just, you know, marketplace performing significantly better than expected. I read through the whole thing there. Really good for eBay, so good job on them. Anyways, most of the stocks that hit new highs today did reverse. We talked about this yesterday, that a lot of stocks are getting extended. And so even though they're hitting new 52-week highs, we don't get excited about that. We're not going to fall for that and kind of chase at this point. Adobe's a great example of that. PayPal's another example of that. Started by hitting new 52-week highs, faded away. Not a bad day, it just pulled back a little. Rollins, one of the more volatile stocks on the list, and Fastenal, just to name a few in there, down 1% overall. There were no new 52-week lows. That's it. No new 52-week lows. We're going over 3 weeks now from that happening. Some of the stocks we've been talking about win the little breakout pattern there, wedge, triangle, whatever you want to call it, up 2% again today after yesterday's breakout. Las Vegas is opening. Go back and do your gambling. Amgen around the 200-day moving average. No love yet. Hasn't really gotten anything going there just yet, so not a big deal there. And then I'll add a new one here. is very weak. It's just a watch at this point. But look at this series of highs right here. It just can't get over the $17 number in anything convincing. And I mean, known resistance there. But if it did, if it does get over $17, don't you kind of think it'd be kind of exciting there if it did? And that was really it. Actually, I didn't have anything else to share as far as the technical breakdown there. We could do sort of your stocks in the news for the day if you want, and cover that. But yeah, we can move away from the charts for a moment. As far as stocks in the news, got a handful of things going on out there. Really stories, to be honest with you. Las Vegas Sands, briefly lower on the day. Singapore is basically looking into a casino over there that Las Vegas Sands owns and concerned about some money laundering. It was just a report. Obviously, you can't, reports are not truth, kind of like the chicken price fixing. Just, you know, it's the Department of Justice looking into that. But anyways, that's what you have there. Tiffany's, by the way, is your earnings play for tomorrow. So Tiffany is, well, it's actually the only one to report earnings tomorrow. It's going to be a focus one because the parent company of Louis Vuitton, they are trying to break out of their deal to buy Tiffany. Tiffany said today, we're going to sue you, right? So go ahead and get away from your deal. We're going to go ahead and sue you. And so with their earnings coming out and that, you expect that one to be in focus coming out tomorrow. Slack reported earnings after the close. I believe it was down considerably. Yeah, trading about 31.50, which is not good. That erases the last week and a half worth of data there. But Slack basically beat on earnings. They lost less than expected. They lost 2 cents versus 6 cents expected. Okay, you know, not bad. Revenue came in better than expected. The issue was they now have 122,000 paid subscribers. That's up about 12,000 if you look from last quarter. We reported 110,000. I don't know why I remember that. Anyways, we're expecting more. So I think I don't know that that's the reason for all of the decline after hours. That's a pretty sizable double-digit decline after hours. But I don't know. That one's after hours there. So there's Slack for you. WORK is the symbol. It's trading down here. 31-ish. Yikes. Anyways, that's Slack. Department stores did good today. Whoops. You got Kohl's in the mix, had about a 4% gain on the day. Nordstrom had a good day, added about 10% on the day. They kind of all did well. Gap added about 2% on the day. American Eagle got upgraded by Morgan Stanley. That one was up 4.5% on the day. Not bad. One last thing, and then I'll take your questions. You know, when there's a hurricane, this is probably the best way I could say it. When there's a hurricane, people ask, hey, what stocks should I look at, right? When there's increased travel to a destination, people say, hey, what stock should I look at? Well, when there's a riot or a lot of violence, should we not ask the same question? I'm going to do it. I'm sorry, I'm going to go there. Riot-related stocks. Here's a list of stocks that are currently outperforming. Whoa. Jeez. Bit of a hurricane coming through, huh? Oh, really? Jesus, wow. I'm glad we fixed the audio stuff. If you guys heard, if yesterday's audio was the same as, or if today was yesterday's audio, you would be hearing wow. Okay, that's a lot. Anyways, let's take a look real quick and then we'll get out of your way. Riot stocks. Here's a couple of them here. You got tasers, firearms. What I did is put together a list of stocks and then I listed the products that they sell for you. Not all these stocks are amazing, must-buy type stocks, but they all have seen a lot of increased activity from the riots, right? So take a look. I'm going to expand it for you just because I know that probably helps. Here's a list of them here. Some obvious ones. Stern Ruger, everybody talks about that. Smith & Wesson, they always talk about that when that comes on. But here's the rest of the other stocks you may want to look at. 2-day gains in the double digits for most of them, all getting a ton of action and activity because of the riots. And so that's basically it. That's what I wanted to cover here for you today. That's really all we've got in terms of that. And yeah, that's all I wanted to cover. Let's see if I can answer some of your questions. And if it's too noisy, sorry, we'll get out of the way. Yeah, I mean, I didn't feel great about doing that scan, but I mean, just kind of reporting the numbers. That's a tough one. Tesla, yeah, question mark, Tesla. I don't know what the question is. I don't know what you're asking. I don't know what you want to know. Yep, Department of Justice approved the TD and Charles Schwab deal. Yeah. Thoughts on Vegas opening last night? I heard that they were packed. I can't verify that. I can imagine they were packed just from people wanting to get out. Hey, put the mask on and go gamble, right? Have a good time with it. If you live out there. It's good for a lot of people that live out there. They got to get back to work. Yeah. Yep. You think Activision's going to hold the breakout? I don't see a breakout there. You mean this gap to new highs? So very extended. This is a great example, by the way, guys. Some of the stocks right now hitting new 52-week highs list are very extended, and they're probably going to do something similar to that. Let it pull back. Yeah. Elon did tweet about Amazon wanting to break them up there. I don't have anything to add to that, but that's what you got. Did Broadcom report? Yeah, they report after the close today, but did they come out yet? They did report. Yeah. Earnings basically as expected, paying a cash dividend. Well, they paid the cash dividend already. That's kind of old news. They got $9.21 billion in cash. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, basically in line. Revenue was better than expected from what I could tell initially, but yeah, that's it. And, it's too noisy. All right, we'll wrap it up there. I do appreciate you guys hanging out. I apologize for the noise. Got Florida going on in the background here. But we'll maybe try again tomorrow. If it's raining tomorrow, maybe we'll just skip the show. If it's too noisy, there's not really much I can do about it, but I don't want it to be annoying for you guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks so much for watching. See you later.
Why should you choose Jazz Wealth as your retirement or long-term investing service? Our portfolios are managed by us, not some faceless mutual fund manager. Our private classes will teach you everything about investing and getting your dough straight. Best of all, our fiduciary standard means your best interest comes before ours.